Hey guys, it's Mike, the editor of 40 Plus Fitness, and today I want to talk to you about the sport of CrossFit, which, what's it all about? How did it start? Is it right for you? I want to kind of give you the history about it. I want to talk to you about, you know, what are some of the movements involved in it? What's the philosophy? And just try to give you a general idea of what the sport is all about, and then maybe you can decide if it's right for you. And I'll do other videos about specific topics related to CrossFit, but let's just, get into it. And then, of course, if you have any comments to share, please share them in the comment section. Always love to hear from you. So, CrossFit is absolutely just exploding across America right now, really across the world. You can see on TV, Reebok is the sponsor of the CrossFit Games, where they try to find the fittest person on earth. But let's talk about how did this start. The man who deserves the credit for this, his name is Greg Glassman. He started the official CrossFit process back in the mid 90s, I believe around 95 or so. He opened up a gym out in California, and then he actually ended up training a police department out there with his methodology. But the official first CrossFit gym opened up in the year 2000, and even then it really didn't really catch on. You maybe have heard about it, but there wasn't much to it. In 2005, there was only 13 official CrossFit gyms, but in 2012, there's over 3,400 CrossFit gyms. That is an insane amount of growth in just a little bit of time. So you really need to know about this sport. Basically, it's considered to be, they call themselves the sport of fitness, and the goal is to try to, become as fit as you possibly can. The athletes that are involved in CrossFit that go to the CrossFit Games, the goal is to find the fittest person on earth. But the general philosophy that we'll talk about is that it's designed to help you to be trained so that you're ready for anything, including the unknowable. In other words, you're so well prepared that you can take on any challenge whatsoever. And it's a program that it doesn't really limit itself to any one specialty. It's broad, it's general, it's inclusive. It doesn't focus on any specialty, but yet it includes kind of all specialties. So that's kind of neat. You don't need a lot of expensive equipment or even a gym to do it. You can kind of do it anywhere. The philosophy really focuses on functional core movements. And basically, it's designed that you will do an exercise as intense as possible, and then you're going to measure how many repetitions you can do in a short amount of time. And I'll give you some examples in a moment. But again, like I said, it's the sport of fitness. It's growing by leaps and bounds, and it really tries to focus on all aspects of fitness. So you've got cardiovascular, you've got regular strength, you've got flexibility, speed, power, agility, balance, accuracy, all of these things. And there's a lot of different things that are involved in it. So you've got biking, running, swimming, rowing, Olympic weightlifting type of things. And of course, then there's a big focus on nutrition as well, too. And as we've talked about many times, if you're going to be as fit as possible to get the most out of your workouts, you've got to include a good nutrition plan. The ones that CrossFit officially recommends is the zoned diet and the paleo diet. And I'll let you research those on your own because that would be a whole nother video. But let's just talk about the kind of movements that are involved in CrossFit. There are really three different types. You've got body weight movements, you've got distance movements, and then you've got actually weightlifting movements. So just give you some examples. And again, each one of these things you would do for a very high intensity, and then you would measure how many repetitions you can kind of do over that period of time. And a lot of times you will do a series of, say, 2 or 3 of these movements combined in a certain amount of time, and see how many you can do of each. So the body weight movements are things like stuff you're familiar with. Squats without any weights, jumping up on a box that's maybe, say, a foot or 2 feet in the air, or just jump roping, or you're going through the monkey bars, or you're doing a burpee, which is kind of like a modified push-up, and then you jump up and reach for the sky, or you're doing a handstand push-up. That's a pretty difficult one. Or you're just doing pull-ups or push-ups, things like that. And then you have distance type things where you're running or swimming or rowing or biking. And then you have the like Olympic style or weightlifting type of events where you're actually working with weights, where you, say, would take a barbell and you would then press it over your head, and see how many times you can do that in a certain amount of time, or you're doing the deadlift or the clean and jerk or the snatch, or you've got a kind of a sled that's filled up with weights, and you're having to push that over a certain period of distance, or you're flipping over a tire, things like that. They're involving some sort of an additional object, not necessarily something you'd have to go to the gym for, but just something along that concept where you're adding some sort of external weight to do that. And like I said, a lot of times what you'll see is, especially if you watch the CrossFit games on TV, some of these things are really, really impressive to say the least, where maybe you're doing jump roping, you have to, do 30 double jump ropes or something like that. And then you got to follow that up with to see, you've got to get 10 over the head shoulder presses with a certain amount of weight. And then you got to go through a series of monkey bars or something like that. And maybe you have to do that program 3 times. And whoever finishes first is kind of like the winner, so to speak. So again, just bringing it back home. So, this is the sport of fitness. It's designed to really get you as peak performance as possible. Now, you may ask, how does it compare with other programs such as Insanity or PX90, things like that? We'll do other videos on that. We just wanted to do an overall video for what CrossFit is to see if it's right for you. And also want to be aware, there is some controversy about it, as with any program. Is it going to cause injuries? My opinion on that is certainly you always want to talk with your doctor before you start any workout program, and you want to do something that's at your pace. Where I could see the most potential for injuries was with some of the weightlifting type of events, particularly if you're not familiar with it and you're doing an exercise where you're pushing, those barbells over your head and with a pressing motion, and you're maybe not wearing a weight belt or something, or you're using too much weight, or you're doing the deadlift and you're not taking the appropriate precautions, things like that. But you can get injured doing anything, and the key is to make sure that you're doing something at your pace. You're not competing against anybody else, unless you're obviously in the CrossFit games. You're competing against yourself. And so it's a very, very popular sport. There are CrossFit gyms. You can get into group classes and everything. I've got friends that do it. I've done it myself. It's very, very enjoyable, and I hope you will research more about it and see if it's right for you. Again, we always love to hear your comments. Please share them in the comments section. Until next time, thanks and God bless you.